Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another cast of Vanguard. My name is Thomas JaKaTaKtv, UI leading community manager for Sunspear Games, and spawning in the top left for the blue team, we've got December's Calm and Ace. And in the bottom right for the red team, we've got Raynor and Ektar. Now, a lot of things have been getting mixed up, changing around. We're gonna have to see how those changes have developed. Particularly Ace and Ektar have been doing a lot of very aggressive early rushes, Zergling run-bys, a lot of strong mineral-based attacks from the Zerg, resulting in Zerg actually getting nerfed just a bit. After a lot of testing and trial and error, we found that some of the units were a bit too much on the strong side, and so we'll see how those changes develop in this particular game. Nice little deny on the expansion there. Raynor already prepared for it. And as you can see, the scouts as well have moved back into their old form. They have a little bit more health and less damage, so it's less of a sharp relationship. They're, again, more for scouting than for dealing damage. And and December poking a little bit of fun at Raynor, having a good time there. The Swarm Sentinel down to 80 HP, was at 100, went down to 60, now it's back up at 80. Not quite as high as it used to be, but seems to be a lot better kind of a scenario for that particular unit. Starting to get the development of the builds here. 4 base verse 3 to start off. Initial investments in scouts relatively low for all players. Ektar getting a pretty early queen. We'll see if he starts creeping up relatively soon here. We can just go ahead and grab that queen. And, oh, never mind. That's not a queen. Those are Swarm Sentinels. And there's actually no icon for what a Swarm Sentinel is in that section. I thought he had upgraded a queen. And we have December's Calm. Starting to crank out units from the barracks. Going for double gas behind it. Potentially, we could see some cool upgrade low tier strategies. Raynor, as always, building off his walls. This is an incredibly important part of Vanguard as the meta is developing, as more and more players are improving at the game. We're starting to see walls becoming more and more important, especially against Zerg players. Not unlike StarCraft, walls being very important. We do have some new walling mechanics in the game. We may get to see them this time around. And we also had some changes to the Overlord pretty recently. As you can see, this Overlord only has 200 hit points. Whenever it's next to a friendly town hall structure of any variety, it gains a buff that protects it from damage. But when it goes away, it does not have that buff. Also, the drop, the tier 1 automatic every Overlord is a drop Overlord is gone as well. We found that to be a little bit too strong for obvious reasons. Wanted to try that out, but it did not end up working out. Great scout over here. Ace even telling everyone, look at how well I scouted. I see that you're going for probably Mutalisks, as Ektar has been favoring Ling Muta. It's very similar. But back to those Overlord changes, though. The Overlord is not drop Overlord, and it doesn't have 600 HP. It's down to 200. But we like to keep those Overlords nice and protected, so they're not as harassable. As you can see, this one has a nice little effect on it that's protecting it from damage. Not completely, but to a certain percentage. And Ace coming around. This is the other thing we have been seeing. What the heck was that? He was gonna build something there. We have been seeing worker scouts come into play as well, which is something that we want to discourage. Not through telling the players, hey, don't do this, but really just making available better scouting tools for the players, because workers should be for working, and we want these scout units to be available all throughout the game, so that way you can get lots of information, and it becomes a more strategical chess-like game rather than mind games. Mind games, of course, always going to be involved in a game with incomplete information, but we kind of want to up the threshold for that just a little bit and give players more reliable scouting options, so we can see a little bit more consistency in play and results. Really nice micro, by the way, from December. Getting quite a few of these Mutalisks gonna back off, but really well timed. The Spire, excuse me, was scouted. Reaction with the Vikings managed to push them off before they could get into incredibly high number. Ektar, as you can see in the production tab, still pumping out those Mutalisks, not shying away from it at all. In the meantime, we do have December supporting in tanks and +1 siege mode. Tank Viking. Old Wings of Liberty composition incoming here. Ooh, nice. And we're going to have an interesting scout. You can see these Overlords not taking quite as much damage when they're under the protection of the Town Hall structure. Do a little bit of harass, pop out. Very nicely done. In the meantime, this base gets scouted and follow up Ling aggression. Ooh, on an attack move command, got pulled away just for a bit there. Overall will be done, especially with these Hercs defending on the low ground. We're moving into a 5-base versus 5-base scenario. Blue team with the economic edge at the moment, taking this 5th base a bit later. And dealing with some of that Viking harassment. We're starting to see that show up. And ooh, look at this, man. December's Calm really going into the starport tech here. Did he lose his Vikings? No, just built another one. And coming in under the protection of that fortification point right here. Gonna avoid a lot of the damage. You can't, however, run your refineries away, so Ektar trying to get some damage in on the gas income. Very much worth it. Also spore crawlers, just regular spore crawlers. They don't have any bonus damage to biological or anything like that. So they're quite strong, but they're not as insanely hard countering mutas as they are in StarCraft 2. A little bit different. Nice base snipe over here. And we do have a lot of Lings moving over into this undefended base. They're gonna get pulled back potentially. So we have some communication going through between the teams at the moment. This base is very important. Holding on to it will maintain an economic lead for the red team, which they have not really had a strong hold of just yet. Lings are going to run by, be able to defeat most of that as we have the red army coming in, beginning to position here from both angles. We have a full energy defiler. Really nice splits with these Marines. That Defiler can't get a good plague off at the moment. Will choose to use the plague on the Mutalisks instead. Big attacks coming in from all directions, but it looks like blue is winning the fight. In the meantime, however, Hercs have made it into the main of Ace and are ravaging the economy. Vikings should be able to easily clear up these plagued units. A little bit of Viking versus Viking action over here will go to the blue team. And they've at least stopped mining here for the time being. But these Hercs, oh my god, have dealt so much damage. Let's take a look at the kill counts. 9 for this one, and 7 now. 10 and 17 in total. So much damage done by these Hercs. Oh, and this Herc over here has 4 or 5 kills as well, so. Despite the fact that the base got messed up just a bit, gonna get a gas. Let's take a look at how that all leveled out. Man, red and teal in supreme economic downfall at the moment. There are players. Okay, Hercs lol. Not happy about the Hercs. Oh my god, Ace is gonna GG here. Oh, you got him nerfed. Not an actual GG. That would have been incredibly early, my goodness. We've seen some early GGs in Vanguard, but not quite so early and incorrect as that one. But of course, just a joke. Gonna land this and get it blasted apart by smithereens. There is no, there's no safe haven. This is going to go down. Potentially gonna try and make him pay in army count, but it's gonna be really hard. Running into siege tanks, never an enjoyable prospect, right? To consider, we're like, oh, I have to run into these siege tanks and break this line. This is going to be tricky. So, I'm gonna pull back there, especially with just Marines. It was a nice split. I don't think it would have made it through. And ooh, summon infestors. Defiler's getting ready for a plague. Do you get, I think all, oh my god, that plague landed on every single one of these Mutalisks. They're gonna go all the way down to 1 hit point, but they will not die, and that is the nature of the plague spell. Really cool bit of counterplay, just sort of gets involved in that. Nice Mark's gonna double the damage on all of these Zerglings. Try to help with that cost efficiency. I don't think he'll be able to make it out of there alive. Plague good unit coming in from Ektar as he slowly, 1 hit point at a time, begins to heal these Mutalisks. We'll have enough DPS to very quickly dispatch those low hit point Vikings. And very importantly, securing a base is Ektar over in this bottom center section. Really critical, as this base has been up for quite some time. Oh, by the way, this is the new building. Check it out, the creep colony. It produces creep, and it also has a slowing effect of this green area. If any of the units, enemy units, go around that green area, it's a 90% slow. It's a really big deal. And oh, look at this! The healing structure for the Terran, the model has been updated, and it shows up pretty weird on the mini map. I don't think all the healing structures do, but really cool model, taken from, I think, the Kerrigan missions, the emoji missions from the Kerrigan campaign, Heart of the Swarm. Another plague landing on the Mutalisks. The Defiler is hiding in their little burrows here. And, ooh, Vikings should be able to dispatch this if they get in range. Oh my god, Ektar's gonna escape with all these one hit point mutas. Holy crap. Siege tank count is starting to grow, starting to get really significant, and a bit scary, just in general. As blue team starts controlling the center of the map, it's going to be very, very difficult. A lot of stacked defenses over here. These Ling run-bys shouldn't be too effective. Getting the fortification point would certainly help. Ling's going to clean that up. In the meantime, a little bit of, I think Herc's getting caught out of position there for a moment. Base will be secured, and yeah, this is really where it happens, right? We have this central control of the base. These siege tanks are locking into position. Not a lot of anti-air here at the moment. Just this one single Goliath and a fortification point in production. This might be a really good moment for these mutas to swoop in. We'll be able to clear out the healing structure with relative ease, but there's no scouting on what's going on over here until, oh, Torino happens to move in this direction and notices that nice move over here out to the outskirts around the central base to clear up that economy edge. Oh man, we had some sleeping infestors. Stem forward to maybe, oh man, that was tricky. That was tricky. We had some infestors there ready to plague, and all these bunched up units. Now with the units together might, ooh, they're gonna pull back at the last moment there. Oh, and this is pretty big. Like I said, not a lot of anti-air here, but the recognition is not there. Very, very afraid of these Vikings, as you should be. They do have splash damage. Now trying to get a split off and damage these, but as you can see, that the reason why he's been running away the whole time is because of that exact engagement. Really, really powerful. You have to be able to overwhelm the Viking before it can get the second shot off, basically. And, oh, really nice here. Forces a pullback from Ace to defend the base. That was a really bad engagement for Torino there. His ally helping him out with the counterattack in a significant way. Forcing blue back to clean up that base, but nice little move out by December's Calm with these Vikings. This is incredible. Very, very back and forth. Red with a bit of an economic advantage for the time being, and if they clear out this base, they're only going to be able to expand that. Siege tanks are sieging up a little bit late, but they should be able to clear out many of these units. Here come the plagues. Everything is clumped up. Going for a Dark Swarm instead. Interesting move. Going to protect these Zerglings as they run into the base, completely decimating that tank force, which is replenished quite quickly. Keep in mind, December's Calm running out of bank here. Super important that he secures this base, and Ektar sticking with that Mutalisk tech, making it work. Gonna be able to clear out this fortification, and there's very little to do about it at all at the moment. There's very little that December can do. These mutas can just run away. The Vikings, too slow. Oh, with a wild mutation though, they could be able to catch up a bit here. Turning with some of the mutas. Gotta be really careful about clumping there. Remember, they do have splash damage. Big setup over here, trying to secure, save this base really from the Banshees. Should be able to do. once these mutas are in place. And oh man, this is intense. I like this. 2 separate control groups of Mutalisks. Or not necessarily control groups, but 2 separate groups of Mutalisks dealing damage here and there. It's looking really good for the red team, but now the Ultralisks are on the board. They catch them unsieged. Marks going down as well. This is a frightening prospect for any of these Marines. Oh, in the meantime, all of these mutas are catching the siege. Hey, what, Ektar, no. No, Ektar. So many free siege tanks here. Did not notice, I think, at the time. Going to run in and do some harassment instead. Gonna clear up this Xel'Naga construct, grab 125 energy. All those marks and wild growths that we've been seeing this game so far all come from that Xel'Naga energy. This harassment is working out quite well, though. Only 2 mineral patches to harass, so limited effectivity, but overall gonna be pretty nice. And these few units over here. Is that 3-1 that he decided to get? Yeah, look at that. Going for heavier attack upgrades. 3-2 for Torino. 2-1 for December's Calm. But these Ultralisks running in. In the meantime, we do have a bit of harassment from the Mutalisks still going on, but this engagement is gigantic. Look at all of these Zerglings. So many Zerglings and Marines, exactly what the Ultralisk was meant to destroy. And they are just being shredded up right now. With the support of the siege tanks getting into position behind this, they could be in a good spot. Red team needs to be able to break through these Ultras so that they can get to the siege tanks, but it is not possible. The Vikings also protecting from any aerial assaults as these Ultralisks continue to barrel down on the base. Despite all of this time being ahead, it looks like Blue has broken through with an incredible tech advantage. Wonderful play with that timing, and really abusing the composition of their opponents. Excellently done to Ace and December's Calm. That wraps it up for us today, but make sure you come in and hang out, play test with us, check out the game, and we'll see you soon.